1959, inside a Buenos Aires government office, a man in a well-tailored suit sat at a desk applying for a travel visa to West Germany. He filled out the forms calmly, using his real legal name. The clerk behind the desk processed the paperwork, stamped it, and handed it back without a single question. That name was Josef Mengele, one of the most heavily searched-for fugitives on the planet, yet here he was, interacting comfortably with the state apparatus. Mengele's decades of freedom were the direct result of an international manhunt that was broken from the start. In 1943, Mengele served as a physician at Auschwitz-Birkenau. His primary duty involved standing on the camp's railway platforms as new prisoners arrived. With a simple hand gesture, he selected who would be assigned to forced labor and who would be sent immediately to the gas chambers. He also harbored a specific clinical obsession with twins. He ordered twin children pulled from the incoming crowds and placed into separate barracks, where he subjected them to brutal pseudoscientific genetic experiments. Nearly 3,000 twins passed through his laboratory. Fewer than 200 survived. They carried severe physical and psychological trauma for life, making the world's subsequent failure to arrest him a deeply agonizing historical failure. As Soviet forces approached the camp in early 1945, Mengele fled west. He eventually crossed into American-controlled territory inside Germany. American forces actually caught him. They held him in a prisoner of war camp for 2 full months. The wanted circulars compiled by war crimes investigators hadn't reached the front lines yet. Post-war Europe was a chaotic knot of displaced millions and overwhelmed administrators. In that confusion, Mengele was processed as an ordinary, low-ranking soldier, and the Americans simply let him go. A missing piece of paper and an overtaxed bureaucracy gave the Holocaust's most notorious doctor a 4-year head start. By 1949, he needed to leave Europe entirely. He traveled to the Italian port of Genoa, plugging into an underground network known as a rat line, a dedicated supply chain built to move wanted Nazis overseas. This system was maintained by a coalition of sympathetic clergy and former SS officers. They provided Mengele with forged identity papers and International Red Cross travel documents, allowing him to bypass basic port security. He boarded a ship bound for Argentina. The country was governed by President Juan Perón, whose administration willingly accepted thousands of European fascist collaborators. Mengele survived as a protected asset. He crossed the Atlantic using a highly sophisticated ideological smuggling machine. Over a decade later, in 1960, the landscape shifted. Israeli intelligence agents from Mossad tracked down Adolf Eichmann, a major bureaucratic architect of the Holocaust, capturing him directly off the streets of Buenos Aires. With Eichmann secured, Mossad immediately aimed for Mengele. By 1962, a tracking team pinpointed a rural property near Sao Paulo, Brazil. They had visual confirmation. They were positioned to move. Then, Mossad leadership aborted the mission. They weighed the massive logistical requirements and the geopolitical fallout against Israel's immediate, deteriorating security situation at home, and they called their agents back. While intelligence agencies occasionally tracked him, newly declassified archives from Argentina and Germany reveal a much colder reality. This chart plots his movements in South America alongside official government paperwork. Notice the overlaps. Multiple governments possessed highly accurate information regarding his whereabouts. They received visa applications and maintained police files, but chose not to act to avoid diplomatic friction. The global manhunt was largely an illusion. Governments across several continents maintained the convenience of silence, while he lived in plain sight. On February 7, 1979, Mengele went for a swim off a beach in Brazil. He suffered a stroke in the water, alone, and drowned. His body was buried in a modest local cemetery under a false name, Wolfgang Gerhard. The burial drew absolutely no public attention. For 6 more years, the world's elite intelligence agencies, journalists, and Nazi hunters continued searching the globe for a ghost. In 1985, forensic investigators finally exhumed the remains and confirmed his identity. The longest pursuit of the post-war era ended quietly, delivering absolutely no legal justice to his victims. Josef Mengele never stood trial. He avoided a courtroom entirely because a web of international apathy protected him. Indifferent immigration clerks, high-level intelligence directors, and leaders of sovereign nations all possessed the capability to stop him. At every critical juncture, they individually decided that looking away was the easier option. If a monster wears a suit and files the correct paperwork, the institutions meant to protect the world will often choose to simply file it away.